today we are going to be talking about Seattle Strong, the commercial production that our team recently finished. And it's going to be way more relaxed than all of our other videos. This is going to be less curated, more of just a discussion amidst our team about how the heck we created these visuals. And we're also going to get Evan from Seattle Strong on this call at one point. But before we do that, I just want to take a second to talk about who the heck is on the call and why they're here. So I guess jumping in myself, I'm Jacob Christensen. I'm the creative director of JKC Video, and generally that means I come up with a lot of ideas and steer the project forward. But on this one is a huge team effort, and I really can't take all the credit here. So Mallory, who the heck are you? How'd you help out?
Hi guys, I'm Mallory. I am the team senior editor, but I did not get to edit this project because I was working on another one. But I was on set all day, making the product look nice and helping bring the visual to life.
Hey everybody, I am Justin. I am the director of photography for the JKC video team. For this project, I got to kind of have a lot of creative control. I helped come up with visuals, I helped light everything, but I also got to edit this one, which was super fun and kind of a new challenge for me because I've never done this type of edit before. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it and to answer questions and dive into how we made this thing.
Enough of the intros. We need to A, get the client on the call, and B, actually show people the video. How are you feeling? What do you think this video can be? What do you think it will be? What are you anticipating?
I'm anticipating it'll be good, so I'm excited for that. I don't really have any, I have no idea what to expect, to be honest. Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what you did with it, so.
I'm going to share it, and you can you do your thing. You watch it. Watch as many times as you want. What's your initial reaction?
Yeah, just awesome. I do got to say it's a little surreal to kind of see what's, like a professional real ad with our products, just as a small business and with no, still building the brand and building the presence out there of our products. And yeah, that's really exciting. So thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Do you have a favorite part? What is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely do like the beginning, just all three cans back to back and the close-ups. Yeah, the pouring is really good just to show the nitro infusion. But I do think the spinning cans is probably my favorite part, where they're all kind of floating. But the end is awesome too. So yeah, it's all pretty dang good.
So you're saying we might know what we're doing?
I think so. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
How does it feel to see it like presented in this way?
Yeah, no, it feels awesome. Because I think, it's always difficult to communicate your brand, really. I mean, there's a lot that goes into not only, the wording and the choices and the presentation, all that, but even just getting it out there. Yeah, I mean, it's a real professional video that can show off the products and show off, the idea and help build brand awareness and brand interest. Yeah, I just keep kind of like clicking through it. I love the whole thing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, really appreciate it, Evan. You've been a blast to work with the whole time. And I appreciate just like the amount of creative freedom that you have just let us run with, which is refreshing and super fun.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Jacob. And yeah, I look forward to using it and working with you in the future. So
right on. Well,
awesome.
We'll let you go. Take care.
Bye.
That went well.
Yeah, I think that went well.
I think he really liked it.
So next up on our agenda today. So like we got to hear from Evan, he loved it. Apparently we actually know what we're doing. Yeah. But we also took the liberty of, I posted the video to the team's Instagram account, and we got some people to record some questions for us to answer about, like, how did we create this particular shot and all that kind of stuff. So I know that I've personally got questions for both of you. I think you two may have a couple of questions, but we'll start with the people that actually sent us videos.
Question for you, Jacob, about your awesome coffee commercial. First off, did you work with any food stylists or anybody that helped you sort of dress the coffee on set? And also, how did you create your shot list and storyboard for this type of stylistic commercial?
So the easy answer is that we didn't have a food stylist. We did a lot of research on like how to spray water onto a can and make it look nice and everything. But because it was just a can, we weren't dealing with like a burger that needed a lot of dimensionality or anything. We felt fine doing that, and I think that turned out well. But for the shot list component, I'm going to defer that over to Justin. We had a lot of pre-production planning on this shoot.
Yeah, definitely. It was quite a process. We spent a good amount of time just doing research. Jacob sent me some videos that other companies have used, and I watched a whole bunch of nitro coffee videos, different beverage companies, all the different. I probably watched like 10 to 15 different videos just to kind of see like how do you make a product look cool? How do you light it? How do you what are the kinds of things that you see? And then from there, there were some shots that I was like, oh, I want to do that. And so I was like, okay, let's figure out how do we make that exact shot or something very similar. And then some just kind of inspired other ideas. And I came up with a pretty long shot list, and I knew it was like 20 something shots. I was like, this is way too long.
It was a healthy shot list. Yeah.
So then I took that shot list and shared it with Jacob and Mallory, and we kind of workshopped it. We eliminated some shots, we added some more shots, and then just kind of figured out, what's it gonna look like. And then on the day that we were filming, we actually ended up needing to cut some shots because it was just, again, it was too much for just like a little 30-second spot. But yeah, long story short, lots of research and seeing what other people have done and then adding our own flair to it.
Yeah, and I think it's really worth pointing out that a project like this does not come alive on its own. Like, I can't go and make this on my own and have it be as good as it is. Like, all three of us brought a lot to the table, and I'm not just talking about like our very niche skill sets, but like Mallory came up with a dope idea and ended up being like one of the best shots in the ad. Mallory, do you want to tell us about what the shot was?
Sure. The shot had 3 of the different cans in a row, and you could only see the can up front, and as the Rhino, the slider, pulled in and each can was picked up, it revealed the last can.
I don't know, like my brain just wasn't even there, and when you mentioned it on that call forever ago, I literally, the light bulb like actually went off, and I was like, yep, that's gonna make it 100%, especially because it allows us to use our fun toys like the automated slider and like, yeah, it's just one of those shots that like separates the pros from someone that's trying to make it happen in their dorm room kind of thing.
So when Mallory pitched the idea for that kind of zoom in shot, I guess not zoom in, when Mallory pitched that idea for that Rhino shot with the cans, I did not understand at all what she meant. I thought she was talking about like, oh, there'll be a can here and then a can here and a can there. And I was like, that seems like it wouldn't really look good. But I was kind of like, all right, I'll hear her out and then like ask her to explain it again. I was like, oh my God, that's going to be amazing. So yeah, don't judge or write off ideas that seem like a little out there because they might actually be really good and you're just not understanding it. Like I wasn't understanding what Mallory was saying. But yeah, it's definitely like one of the best shots and it's like right at the front of the commercial. Thank you for that, Mallory.
Yeah, thanks for hearing me out, even though you thought the first expression of my idea was nuts.
Justin, when you were just describing Mallory's like can in a line, and you said like first one was gonna be over here, second one's gonna be here, third one's gonna be over here, it gave me an idea, and I was like, oh my goodness. And it's just like proof to the testament of like speaking out loud is like so helpful in the creative process, because like the Rhino slider, we can set multiple points, so we could make a very similar shot, but instead of just going straight, it's actually whipping over at the next can, and like boom boom boom, and you'd have to like set dress a much larger space, but like
yeah,
it would be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool too, because you could, you have the speed, and then it's like following it, and following it. That'd be okay.
Yeah, so we're doing that.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's the next commercial.
Teamwork.
Woo! Okay, we have another question from Mike.
I'm out on a Sunday stroll with my toddler Esther, who's losing her hat at the moment. And we had some questions for you about your latest video. We want to know how you executed the spin of the can, and also how you executed dropping or floating the cans in whatever liquid you were in. I'm guessing water. So let us know. Thanks.
Two-part question there. One is a lot easier to answer. The first one being like, how do you make cans spin? Actually, much easier than you think. They're just little devices that you can set the speed and how they rotate and where they rotate, and all the things used for product photography and video content. And so that's what we were doing to make really cool shots with cans spinning. But the actual cans floating in water bit is it's like a combination of that plus way more work. And yeah, that's a Justin question.
Yeah, so I took the footage of the cans rotating on the automated turntable, took it into After Effects, and then I created a mask around just the can. And then I had to frame by frame keyframe that mask moving, because it wasn't like perfectly in the center of a turntable, so it moved a bit.
That's my fault.
It's all good. It's so hard to get it perfect.
It's actually my fault.
It's a team fault there. We messed up.
So once I had the image of the can isolated, I created a background and did a whole bunch of overlays of dust and particles and lens flares and light leaks, all at different opacities, to kind of just create this textured feeling. And then I masked and tracked the other cans, duplicated them a whole bunch of times, had some that were close, some that were far, moving in different directions, just to kind of create this feeling of floating, of flying, what have you. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and I think it turned out pretty good.
It did not turn out pretty good. It turned out astoundingly awesome.
Thanks.
I don't know about you, Mallory, but like when I got that initial edit from Justin, spit take, like fluid out the mouth. Just like, what is this and how does it look so cool? Justin's all like messaging us like, hey, like still refining things, like it might not be good enough. I'm like, post it, share it. It's perfect. Yeah. It's amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Well done, Justin.
Hi, JKC Video. I have a question. At around the 13-second mark, how'd you even film like the coffee swirling around inside the cup? That like bubbling effect. Such a cool shot.
This is another Justin question, because I couldn't get the bubbles to swirl.
Yeah, so that shot was a little bit of a challenge, because nitro coffee, it bubbles really quickly, and we wanted this like beautiful cascade of bubbles and whatnot. So I had an empty glass and a fresh can that hadn't been opened, hadn't been shaken or anything like that. And I cracked it open, poured it in, and immediately started stirring it viciously. And the camera was recording at 180 frames per second. And then from that clip, I just went in and found where you could see it spinning, but it didn't look like it was whirlpooling, and there was no reflection of me or anything in there. So it's like a very, very small, like, I mean, honestly, that's probably like a third of a second that you're seeing, but it's slowed down at 180 frames per second. Another
so
way
you're
that
saying you just lied to everyone.
I just cheated, essentially. No. Well, it's like, you know, you get the nitro, but it dissipates really quickly. It's kind of the same with like beer. Like you pour it, it bubbles, and depending on the type of beer, like sometimes you'll get a good head, but most of the time, you know, it bubbles them and it's gone.
I feel like that shot is actually, it seems easy from like a standard viewer's perspective, but I know that one of the things we really struggled with was like the bubbles are really small. So to get them in focus is really difficult, but then also add the fact that you're putting it in a pint glass, and like that glass distorts the lens's perspective of where you're hitting focus. So I don't, for anyone watching at home, that might have been really confusing, but all in all, it's way harder than you'd think it would be to hit focus on specific bubbles, because there's too many layers of distortion to figure out quite the right spot. There was a lot of cold brew poured to get the shot.
Okay, what's next?
Real talk. How many times did it take to film that ending scene, rotating that coffee cup just so perfectly at the ending shot?
So many. Oh my gosh. So many. That must have been like, what, an hour of like, because I would like put it in and it would be just slightly too far to the left, too far to the right, like not centered. We probably did 10 takes to get that just right.
It's like one thing to be like, oh yeah, spin a can on a rotating table and like zoom in really far and spray water on it. It's like, yeah, it looks cool. You can put any can and do that. But like as soon as you really start aligning things in the shot and like picking things up and making it look normal, so complicated. Yeah,
human error, man.
Yeah, well, same thing for the 3 cans in a row. The end result looks great, but the amount of takes we took, and I'm not gonna point at who, but the amount of times that people were freaking out on stage of like, am I picking it up normal? Do I pick it up with my right hand, my left hand? Is it too fast, too slow?
To be fair, I was the only one who had to do a left-handed pickup. And when you don't left-handed pick things up every day, it's hard to do it naturally. So the hand acting really had to come in.
That's true. But you're a professional, so.
Yeah, I feel like you have a blossoming career as a hand model.
I think I do now, yeah. This will go into my reel.
Should we have a mid-commercial break?
Now, before you go any further in this video,
smash that like button.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, you ready for the next question?
Ready.
Hi Jacob, hi JKC video team. I just watched the video and it was so cool, like so crisp. Everything was so perfect, like the background, the music, the lighting, like the transitions. Oh my god, so awesome job. I guess I have to start on my questions. My first question is, how did you come up with the storyboard? Like, starting from the coffee beans and to all the other shots and scenes.
Since this is a multi-part question, I'm just going to pause it there, and we're going to work through things. That first question being, like, how do we come up with the storyboard? We knew that we just wanted to be relatively linear because there's no people in the shot. Like, there are hands, but there's no inherent story. So we just wanted to kind of show that from start to finish of like, here's beans, here's coffee in a can, here's it being poured, here's it looking delicious. It's in full transparency, a fairly hollow commercial in that regard, but it's just making the product look cool. So I don't know, like we originally were kicking around the idea of, what is the shot order and everything. I feel like everything just kind of led to a linear story.
We're not showing the brewing process. We're not showing any of that kind of stuff, but we kind of just wanted to highlight the bits and pieces. Placing the 2 shots of the beans at the beginning of the commercial was actually a choice that I made in editing, and that was mostly for timing, because I knew the moment I wanted the music to like pick up, but I had this like gap I needed to fill, and we had these 2 shots of beans that we weren't exactly sure where they were going to go, so I put them at the start. But then it ended up making a lot of sense, adding to like the beginning to end. Like we're starting at beans, and then it's the can, and then it's in the glass, and then at the end we see all the beans again. So it was kind of like a full circle. Yeah, thank you. That was a good question.
I do think we also thought about like the branding of it in the placement. Like you want logo recognition right off the bat. You want to see a can right after you see the beans. So that was also a part of the
big time
reason why we lined it up the way we did.
Definitely need that like immediate recognition of what someone's watching, because our attention spans are too short. We can't wait 30 seconds to see the logo. Need to see it right up front. Pay attention the next time you're watching any type of coffee, soda, beverage ad. They're all usually pretty much just beauty shots of beverages in cans or bottles. There's usually not a whole lot of story there. And part of that is a result of like, they just want you to think of the can or the beverage. But the second part is like, quite honestly, it's way more expensive to have actors and locations and all those things. So we were kind of like painted into this corner of like, be effective, be efficient, make it look cool. So it just really lent towards a linear story.
That was a great question.
My second question is, at the 6th second of the video, we see a close-up of a can and it's spinning. I thought that was so cool, and I would like to know how.
So we obviously already talked about like the rotating turntable that we have that helps things, you know, look cool when they're spinning. But one reason why that shot looks so cool is because we used our macro probe lens. So we'll have the image of it up here for you, but it makes it look really close, and you can see all the little speckles of water and everything, but you can also, like, it's a wide perspective, so it feels really unique compared to what most people would do to show a close-up of a can.
I guess a little bit more detail of like, the can is here, the lens was like right here, like super close, but it's a macro wide lens, so it makes it look really, really big. And, you know, we did this low angle to make it look, powerful and majestic and sexy.
Or Seattle strong.
Or strong.
Dad jokes. Yeah, the macro lens, looking up at it while it's spinning with all the beautiful lighting and everything is it's unique. Even for canned content in the can.
How nitty gritty do you want to get about this? Because there's also like speed ramping. So it's spinning on the automated turntable, but at whatever speed we set, and that was quite slow. So Justin in the editing bay later did a lot of speed ramping in this ad. So it was like whoosh, which definitely makes it more entertaining and gripping to watch.
That was a great question.
And my last question is, it's kind of a silly one, but at the end of the video, was the cup actually on coffee beans? Because it looked like it was on a very flat surface, but there were coffee beans, so I would like to know the truth.
I love this question because it shows how much people think about all the visuals that we create. And, you know, like, maybe when they initially watched it, they were like pulled out of like, wait, why is that like working? Or maybe they were in awe or whatever. But the things that we all pick up on when we watch content is astounding.
I feel like it's a telltale sign that she's one of your students, because you're always like, Everything's fake in Hollywood. Everything's fake.
It's true, though. It's true.
It is true, which warrants the question, is it sitting on beans?
So it's a trick. Everything is a trick. Yeah, the glass is not sitting on beans. It is sitting on a table, and that table has a piece of black fabric. So I got a flat surface, and then there's just a ton of coffee beans to hide the fabric. And I just clear a little spot, move the beans out of the way, put the coffee cup in there, put the beans back around it. So I could lift it up and down, and it looks like it's coming out of the beans, but it's not like angled, and there's no beans stuck under it or anything like that.
It's all fake. Everything's fake.
Everything's
Don't
fake.
believe it.
Everything is fake so that it looks real.
Thank you for that question. That was a good one.
How did you make that coffee look so good? Was that the actual product? I must know.
I think it's well, you do actually. You thought it was amazing, Justin, didn't you? Like not sponsored. You actually thought it was really good coffee.
Yeah. I don't really like cold brew because most of the cold brew that I've had is like really, really intense, and it's like too strong and makes me jittery. But I love this coffee. It's so tasty. It's like the only cold brew that I've had that I've actually wanted to have another cup of, or another can of, rather.
I asked that because it's not that we made it look good. It's that it is good.
Yeah.
And like genuinely, we're not required to say that. We're not sponsored to say that. They're not paying us money to say that. That's just a hot take. I definitely remember when you like had the first one, you're like, oh, this is actually good. We should definitely make a video for these people. It's like, well, great, because we already have a contract, so let's do this thing. And then, yeah, all the shots are real, right? Like there's no like other coffee in there. It's just all the actual stuff.
Yep. We only used the actual coffee that they provided us, which was, coffee from their cans. I mean, we could have used other stuff, but, we're trying to sell their product, so wanted to see what their product. So everything that you see is Seattle Strong coffee. except for the beans. Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. The beans were just random beans that you bought from the store, but
yep.
We also weren't like showing them being crushed up and put in the drink or anything. So
yeah, I think the way that we made it look so good, with one, like you saying, like we're starting with a good product, and then two, just a lot of lighting and editing and the whole video making process.
Oh, I didn't tell y'all. When I was shopping for the company retreat, I was looking through drinks, and Seattle Strong was in our local store, which I don't know. Like, obviously, like it's a real drink and it's in tons of stores and everything. But there was something really cool in that moment to be like, I found the thing that we just made a commercial for in a legit store, and it's not just like in someone's garage. It felt very. What's the term I'm looking for? Validating. Like it was very cool in that moment. And there were so many people around me, and Jordan was so self-conscious when I filmed myself finding the can. I'm at the grocery store shopping for our company retreat. And boom, found Seattle Strong in the aisle. Let's go.
I feel like that's kind of like, when you've edited talent and you don't actually know them well, but you spent so much time editing them, and then you see them in real life and you're like, I know you, but I don't know you. I also saw Seattle Strong in the store and felt like a very personal connection to it. I was like, ooh, that's a good looking can. Bet it looks really good in a nice little commercial.
Okay, we have one last question, and then we're going to pivot to Justin's thoroughly thought through list of questions.
Yeah.
I'm curious how shooting a food or beverage product is different from other types of videography. because you're trying to communicate a taste sensation over what is mostly a visual medium. So I'm just curious how that's different from other types of videography.
I think usually you're focused on, like, we work with people a lot, and then there's definitely a narrative arc, and you're focused on, like, making sure that you're telling that person's story. And in this case, we've already talked about there's less of a story. Like, we wanted some sort of a linear narrative with beans to can to cup to taking cup and enjoying. But yeah, I think when you're shooting a product, it's much more about the vibe, if I can use that word. Like, you're selling how that product should make you feel.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, just to echo what you're saying, like, I think it is a very primal video of just like, looks cool, lights, movement, ooh, shiny object, you know, like it's not about how someone went through a really emotional experience or, you know, why you should support them in their endeavors, which just in terms of editing, you know, when you're talking about people and telling a story, a 30-second ad could have as few as 1 shots, or it could be all the way up to 15 or something. Like, how do I want to know how many shots we have in this commercial? Like, there's like 30 or something. It's like every single second something's happening because we're just inundating you with cool visuals. That's a good question. It does differ. I mean, I think we just have to pay way more attention to lighting and composition and movement and how do we make it fun, because we could have just set a can on a table next to a full glass and that would have been the most boring 30 seconds ever. But instead we like show every single part of that process, which, like, if you really think about it, it's a very short process. Done. Like, we didn't even show someone drinking it. So like we really got our money's worth out of getting every single type of shot possible.
Great question.
Okay. We are done with all of our fantastic questions. Did I say questions?
Yeah, you did.
Thank you. We are done answering all of our awesome questions from all the folks from Instagram. Thank you for sending those in. Really appreciate it. If you want to send in questions on the next breakdown video, go follow us on Instagram. We'll be asking for future breakdown videos. But for now, we're going to pivot to our team's questions, which, you know, we initially had Evan right off the bat. We had people from Instagram, and then we have the three of us, which, like, we have been around the content for a very long time, and we also, like, know some of the dirtier secrets of how the videos were made. I have multiple questions, and I'm just gonna kick us off. I wanted to ask Mallory, you know, obviously, like, you're a senior editor, you do a ton of type, clicky kind of stuff. But actually being on set, you know, I feel like this is one of your first, like, product shoots. It at least is with our team, but, like, how did it differ for you? What were you drawn to? What did you think was cool? Like, what did you like about that experience of actually filming a product?
I think I was just excited about the sheer number of shots we wanted to capture and the different ways that we intended to capture them. I know we started with a shot list of like 30 and that got crunched down a bit. Yeah, but it was my first time like really working with macro lenses and trying to light for a product instead of a person. And it was super fun. And to like play with the sliding shots and play with the macro lens and then have a second lens that was capturing something as the macro was to get a different option of it because you're only going to pour the thing one time. Yeah, I think the creative freedom around that and then being able to like pivot and stop and say, oh no, like let's scoot it a little bit this way and the light will hit differently. Yeah, I think that was really fun. Just the opportunity to try so many different things.
I think your answer is awesome. All of the like fine tuning and ability to navigate all the shots is super helpful. But like also because we had so much creative freedom and there was a vibe in the studio. You know, like everyone was just chilling. Mallory, follow-up question. What was your favorite shot from the entire video?
Ooh. Wow, is it rude to say that the shot that I thought of is my favorite?
Oh my goodness. Of course it's that one.
So rude.
Bringing to life the like floating can idea. I think seeing that happen, and we even like ran a little test in the studio on the day just to see how masking it would go. And obviously Justin taking that into the editing bay and doing it took much longer than our little test run. But that I think is those two are my favorite shots. But I think
your shot's your favorite shot. We get it.
I just loved filming it and like timing it and looking at when the first can was in focus and then having someone grab that one. It was also like a team effort, like totally a team effort, pulling focus, setting up the rhino, planning the shot out, and then together being like, okay, pull your can, pull your can. So I think I had the most fun as a team doing that part.
It was a really fun moment. And like, I feel like every time we were about to do it, we were like, okay, everyone like stretch out. Like, let's
Here
do this.
Here we go.
Get your fingers ready.
Yes. And we had to have done it like 5 to 10 times. Like we did it numerous times to get it. And I think we only have one usable one. All of them are like people grabbing the can and then removing it, like just like leaving.
Or like I remember my first take, it was just like way too fast. I have a question for Justin. The macro shot up of the can, did you mask that, or is that just our set dressing in the background?
I didn't mask anything in that shot. That is just our set dressing. We lit it in a way that it just kind of fell off into blackness. So it's just the can. It's the only thing in the shot. I added a little bit of like a flare to accent the rim light and kind of match it to other shots. But didn't mask anything.
Good question.
Thank you.
Question that relates kind of close to that, Justin. I want to know, this is a two-sided question.
Okay.
What was the shot you were most excited for in pre-production? And then at the end of it, what ended up being your favorite shot?
I got to think about that for a second. More than 1 second. I'm almost like I need to look at the shot list. The shot that I was most excited for was that low angle shot of the can on the macro lens where it's just really big and exciting and looks really majestic. I just thought it was going to be a really fun shot, a cool one to like have in the video. And then the one that ended up actually being my favorite was the really tight close-up shot of the mouth of the can pouring out all of the coffee. That one was a really fun problem-solving experience. That was a really fun problem-solving exercise, because if you just, crack open the can and let the liquid flow out, it's gonna go glug 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 glug, and it's not gonna have that like cascading waterfall effect. So had to do some research into figuring out how to do that. And we ended up taking the can and kind of cutting it open, and then with a pitcher like pouring the coffee into it so that it could just gush out. And it got everywhere, and that was definitely the shot that I enjoyed the most at the end of the process.
I love that you bring the fact up that we like had to open the can so we could get more fluid in it, because that's something that most people just don't even think about. It doesn't even cross their mind. Oh, it's a really steady stream of fluid, and a human is not holding the can. Like it's clamped so it's in one spot. So we're eliminating human error of moving the can around so that focus is always hitting, but then also like we need constant fluid, and it's something that no one asked about when we set out the question on Instagram. It's a problem that we had to solve, but we didn't even realize it was a problem, for quite a while. It took multiple waves of brainstorming before we were even thinking, oh, right, all the fluid's going to empty if we have the can permanently there on a stand. How do we get more in it? It was still the right coffee, still real.
Yep.
But it's not a fresh open by any means.
No, that was recycled from multiple shots.
I have a question. Are there any shots that we didn't have time for or that we decided weren't necessary for the edit that you would really like to try to capture, either with another product or that you're like, man, I wish we would have had time to try that? Or
yeah, one shot that we didn't end up being able to get, I think largely just a time constraint, and it was kind of an extra shot. We had this idea of using the Rhino and kind of starting out with all the cans would be in a line, like boom, 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 and the camera would come around and reveal them. And that would have been a shot in place of the one that Mallory came up with of zooming into each can. But yeah, we just, we had a lot of shots. We didn't need that one, but I think if we ever did another video for Seattle Strong Coffee or for another similar product, that could be a really cool one. Even if we, had some way that we could have the macro lens on the Rhino so that we could sweep across them or something like that could be really cool.
So that was gonna be my shot, and then Justin took it. Really thought Justin was gonna say the top-down shot. We had a lot of ideas, but we got the heavy hitters. I'm really proud of so many shots in this piece that it's difficult to even imagine other shots that are as important or as cool. But I'll see something in a week from now and be like, oh, let's do that next time. Let's try doing that, but with our own twist on it. And so nothing off the top of my head right now. Super proud of what we created.
I have a question for Mallory. What did you find was the most challenging part of the whole process? You could talk specifically about what was the most challenging shot, or what was the most challenging part of the process of making this video?
the first thing that comes to mind, and you've already touched on this a little bit, but was just lighting. Because it's a can, because it's a glass, because we're using a macro lens where we need so much more light introduced, lighting things so that they hit where you wanted but didn't show up in other places. Like, we had flags left and right, we had lights in the craziest places. There were a couple shots where like we were holding a nan light behind the table under the product as still as we could so that it like illuminated the part we wanted but didn't affect the rim of the glass. And that is definitely not something you deal with when you're like conducting an interview with someone and you just have talking heads. Like, lighting is so much more straightforward. And even then, as a DP, like, you're tweaking everything to make it look as good as possible. But with a product, the amount of adjusting we did for lights with flags and intensity and position was much more of the process than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it was constant tweaking and fine-tuning and a lot more attention to detail than when you're filming an interview or, you know, a scene. Because, you know, when it's just the product, like, it has to be not perfect, but almost perfect, because there's not a person moving around, there's not a story, there's not words that are pulling you one way or the other. It's like you're just seeing everything. So because of that, we had to spend so much more time with lighting than we typically do.
That was a great question.
Jacob, usually a lot of your focus on set when we do have a client on set is interfacing with them and making sure they're pleased with what we're doing and making sure we're like telling the story that they need. How was it different for you doing a product shoot and not having the client there?
That's a great question, Mallory. It was very different. Like trying to think how insanely different it was. Yeah. A lot of the time I'm like the people pleaser on set of just like, hey client, how are you doing? This is what we're doing today. Here's how we're going to be welcoming everyone. Here's where we're filming them. Is this meeting your brand guidelines, et cetera, et cetera. But because there was literally no one, we just had our shot list and we knew what we had to do to get the thing and then move down to the next. As a result, it just, I don't know. Two things happen. A, I feel like I really loosen up. I mean, I wasn't wearing shoes. I was playing music. I was singing along, all that good stuff, which is just different when you have a client on set. So it's a different vibe, but also, to the detriment of the team sometimes. If I'm not distracted with taking care of the client, then I can be poking my head in places it shouldn't be and be like, what are we doing over here? What about this light? Should we tweak it this way? And so it's rocking that fine line of, making sure I'm actually being helpful and steering the ship and not micromanaging and yeah. Trying to be a part of the fun without being annoying.
Jacob, go stand over there.
Jacob, go back to your director's corner.
Yeah, the last 5 sets, I found my director's chair in a very remote corner of set, and it's facing away from everyone, and I don't get why Mallory keeps putting it there, but
it's just to get out of the way of the other gear, that's all.
Yeah, we gotta it's tight space. I have a question for you, Jacob. What was it like for you to kind of have to let go of a little bit of the typical creative control that you have? Because for this one, it was a lot more obviously we worked together and coming up with the initial shot list, but designing the shots and the edit and all that, you kind of just handed it to me and were like, go. So how was that for you to kind of have to relinquish some of the creative control?
I think how we approach this project is pretty close to how I always want to approach projects. I enjoy being part of the process, and I'm totally someone that if there's 5 things, I want to be involved in all 5 of them. I don't want to just do one and then hand it off to someone else and they take care of everything else. But that doesn't mean that I need to do all 5 of those things. I just want to be micro involved with it. So the balance of the 3 of us talking through things and then each of us doing our own research, bringing our own ideas to the table. I think that ended up creating a really amazing end video. But I also that's really in line with how I enjoy approaching projects, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Mallory did this all on her own, or if Justin did this all on his own, or if I did this all on my own. It wouldn't be half as cool. It wouldn't be half as creative. It would probably be a lot more, I don't even want to say linear, streamlined, simpler. It just wouldn't be as good. And having the uniting part of all those forces is really what makes us the dream team. But I say that as a little bit of a joke because it makes me uncomfortable to say on camera, but I really believe, when we all get creative and we get those ideas flowing, it results in a much better product. And I know that that's the cheesy, simple thing that you're supposed to say, but it is so true. It just wouldn't have been as good if I had thought of all the ideas and then said, Justin, go execute my ideas. So I'm really glad that we were able to share a lot of that. We've been a team for long enough where, I have ideas and I feel like the 2 of you are already kind of knowing what some of my ideas are going to be before I even say them. So you're able to really vibe on, okay, Jacob wants this general lighting scheme, it probably means these things. And, then being able to iterate in your own creative space to how do we improve that. I can say I don't feel like I have to micromanage either of you and the other team members that were on set. Everyone's bringing their A game, and I don't think that I need to be. It's not the Jacob show. It hasn't been in a real long time, and I'm really just here to make sure that you two feel supported and loved. That was like the best 15-minute answer.
It was a good answer.
It was a good answer. It was an honest answer. It was a very political answer. It kind of checked all the boxes.
And you know what? It was a good question.
It was a good question, and honestly, like, I think that's one of the behind the scenes parts of video content that we often forget about is, you know, like, it really makes a difference of like who is on the team and what creative experience do they have and what are they bringing. And one amazing person does not make a good or amazing end product. You know, it takes multiple amazing people to pull that off. And we have that in our team. And I'm not so humbly, you know, going to brag about that for forever. We talk about this all the time. If you two go and do a production, I have zero concerns. I know it's going to be great. Easy enough. Boom. Enough said. Dab. YOLO. Huh? You dabbed so in sync!
That was great.
We practice.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We've had so much fun breaking down this production for you, and stay tuned because we're going to break down more productions. Follow us on Instagram to ask questions about our shot list and productions, and smash that like and subscribe button.
I am pretty sure that Mallory did that as a joke, but we are using that. That is the sign off. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us. On to the next production.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for taking the time to learn about how we do what we do. If you'd like to see more videos, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.
So the odds that anyone getting this late in the video is insanely low. Like 0.0001% of people will ever see this. So I'm including both your sign-offs, and I'll put one from me, and then we need like an Easter egg prize. Like if someone actually made it to the end, we'll like send them a...
They'll get a JKC branded mug.
Man, I don't even have a JKC branded mug.
I know we'd have to order them.
We can't say everyone that makes it to the end of the video. What if we give away like 100,000 mugs? First person that makes it to the end of the video and finds this message and discovers the fact that we have not one, not two, but 3 sign-offs from the video will get a custom JKC video mug that we do not have made yet, that we will make especially for you. So comment below, like and subscribe. Always wait for the Easter egg trailers at the end of the credits. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Boom. Until next time.